चरणारविन्दरे भजा गुरे मन दुर्लभ मानव जन्म सत्संगे भजो तारो ये भव सिंधुरे शीत आतप वकवरेशन ये दिन जामिनी जागिरे शीत आतप ये दिन यामिनी विफल से विनो कृपण दुर्जन चपल सुख लाभ लागिरे विफल से विनो कृपण दुर्जन चपल सुख लाभ ये धन यौवन पुत्र परिजन इते की आते परती तेरे ये धन यौवन पुत्र परिजन इते की आते पर कमल दल जल जीवन तलमल भजहु हरिपद नीति रे कमल दल जल जीवन तलमल भजहु श्रवण कीर्तन स्मरण वंदन पाद सेवन दास्य रे श्रवण कीर्तन पाद सेवन दास्य रे भोजन सखी जन आत्मनिवेदन गोविंद दास अभिलाष रे गोविंद दास अभिलाष रे हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Pavan Harinama Sankirtan ki Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani ki Shri Gaur Nitai ki Srinivas Balaji ki Sri Prabhupada ki Om Ajnanatamirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuvunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namavam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome all of you. For this first meeting in English, we are doing very exclusively for English candidates. Recently, my eldest sister, she and her husband, they had a Shashti of the Purti. Shashti means 60. Ashti means 80. Ashti of the Purti, they also do it in 80. So this is the same couple, husband-wife. They might have got married at the age of 25 or 28 or something like that. Now the marriage is like reconfirmation. They do it in the age of 60. So my sister had called me, at least on Zoom, we can come and address us for some few minutes. So then I gathered some wisdom about what is this Shashti of the Purti. I will just show you. See, this is the one. I will make it a little bigger for you. Big enough now? See, Shashti Purti or Shashti of the Purti is celebrated on completion of 60 years of age of the male. In Sanskrit, they call it as a Shashti. Abda means year. 60th year completion of the male, they do it. 61st year, they do it. It's a significant milestone, a memorable turning point, and a touching reminder of the rich, mellowed life that would unfold in the years to come. Why he is saying like this? Life has been pretty fast between the age of 25 to 60. And after 60, the life is a little cool because the children have taken the responsibility at home. Then the husband and wife, they have their little more free time they have. And there is nothing pressing behind them. Therefore, he's calling it as a mellowed life. And one more important aspect is that all the planets in zodiac come to the same position to occupy the same houses of zodiac as compared to the actual date of birth of the individual. You see, these planets take the same position as they were on the date of birth of the individual after 60 years. That is why celebration is performed on the same lunar day when moon conjoins the birth star, by the saying. That's the date it is supposed to be celebrated. The sages and rishis of the year have acknowledged the sanctity of the 60th year in one's life and have drawn out elaborate rituals to mark this special event. They looked at it as rebirth, he says, and suggested the repetition of those rituals performed at one's birth. That means whatever you do, Jata Karma, on the day of the child's birth, the same things are done in 60 also. Because this is a new birth, but what happened to you in your time of birth as a small baby, that is called the seminal birth. Whereas at the age of 60, it's a spiritual birth now. Because you have become grown up now and you want to enter into the next phase of your life, which is 60 onwards, where you will take your life seriously in the spiritual path. Therefore, it is considered like rebirth, he says. Hence, celebrating this point is called a sacred part of the hallowed Vedic culture, yeah. And then he goes on to explain many things, details about it, how it is performed. So they call it as a Shanti. Please, somebody can read this, please. Yeah, give the mic to them.
Shanti. The rituals carved out as part of Shanti are also referred to as Ugra Ratha Shanti. Ugra Ratha is nothing but the harsh-natured time. In the 100-year time scale of man's life, pre-60 is a period of materialistic pursuit, while the post-60 span is slated for spiritual endeavor.
So our Srila Prabhupada quotes from the Vedas, Panchasha Urdhvam Vanam Vrajet, he says. Which means he says that Panchasha means 50. So for 51 onwards, one is supposed to take Vanaprastha, but oftentimes there are some pending duties to be done even till 55 or 60 sometimes. And some of the people are nowadays getting married late also. In those days, the marriage would happen when a girl is less than 12. When Prabhupada's sister Bhavatarini, she became 12. The mother, the mother of the girl was telling father, that is Prabhupada's father, he was telling that, you see, if our girl survives for one more year, then I will enter Ganges. Because what will happen, they were thinking it is too late at the age of 13. Nowadays, girls are marrying at the age of 28 to 30 nowadays, if you see. So much changes have happened now, if you see. So imagine if a girl is marrying at the age of 12, boy is marrying at the age of 14 or 15, but they won't stay together. Just marry, girl lives with her parents and boy lives with his home. But one amazing thing happens, Prabhupada explains in purports. The girl, in her heart always thinks that I have a husband now. So she will never think of another man. She becomes chaste to that husband. And husband also becomes responsible now. Now that the marriage is over now, when she comes after 5-6 years, I have to give a house and facilities and everything. So he becomes responsible. That means it's good for both of them. She becomes chaste and he becomes responsible, like this. And then, not only that, when she becomes 13, 14, 15, every year, once in a year, the boy will come with his parents to the girl's home. And she will cook some prasad and offer. So that way there is an opportunity awarded for increasing the affection also. They have arranged like this. So at the time of marriage, the affection is increased. And beyond 50, then the material attachments are reduced. And then the spiritual attachment is awakened. That means by the time the husband and wife come to 50, 60, they understand that the material sense gratification is not very attractive in this world. You can procure a big bungalow, big car, earn a lot of money, big bank balance, but these things don't satisfy us. They both have come to the conclusion. Now the husband and wife look at each other as spiritual partners in the same journey. So they can actually progress in spiritual life. That's the understanding with which they... Therefore, he's saying the Ugra Ratha Shanti is a prayer sent to the heavens to make the post-60 span a spiritually fulfilling experience. That means, Ugra Ratha is a chariot. Ugra means ferocious. So, Ugra Ratha means, the life between 25 to 50 or 25 to 60 is a very ferocious period because one has to increase responsibilities, material responsibility. Like, you have to go to office, make money, you travel all over the world. Sometimes you're transferred from one place to another. Sometimes the children are born and there's a tension before the birth of the child, whether delivery will be all right. Then after the birth of the child, there is a tension if there is some complication. And then raising a child is another big challenge. And teenage girl at home or teenage son, that's another big tension. So in this way, that's why Ugra Ratha, the term is used, because this is a very tense period for the husband and wife, both of them. There are many ups and downs happen in the family. Sometimes money loans, you have taken loans and EMI you have to pay, and the company is chasing after you. So all these things. Therefore, the post-60 span is slated for spiritual endeavor, he says. Now there is Kranti after that. After Shanti comes Kranti. Now let us see what is Kranti. Read it.
After the successful completion of the Shanti program, the Kranti program follows, in which Kalyanam is very important. Kranti means to step ahead and signifies heading towards a new life.
Yeah.
Sashtipurti is a good builder between the householder's domestic concerns and Vanaprastha's spiritual yearnings.
Such a beautiful word is used here. See, between 25 to 60, the domestic concerns are many. But after you cross 60, you will clearly see that, you have done some monetary savings. Some companies even give provident fund gratuity also, bulk amount they give. And you have a own house also. And you have a car, you have own house. And children are not children anymore, they have grown up. Like one couple came to me, they were about 48 or something. So the Mataji was saying, Prabhuji, when my boy was such a small kid, he depended on us so much. Now he's grown up now, he's an engineer now. Now the children don't depend on us, they're running here and there and we feel home is empty. Now what are we supposed to do now? She was asking. So then I was thinking of this. That means, the Vanaprastha stage is a stage for spiritual yearning. If one doesn't have that spiritual yearning in the form of Tattva Jignasa, they will be the most frustrated people. Because they tend to think that now we are becoming old and children have taken away the business, and they even consider the sons and daughters to be their competitor. Sometimes, why they are taking my business? I started this business. They can become envious. Like Hiranyakashipu became envious of Prahlad, like that. So therefore, one should develop the spiritual yearning. Please go ahead.
During Vanaprastha, the married couple is to fulfill their life's mission by staying together through observance of celibacy. The Kalyana Veduka is a reminder of the unique role they are to play in the years to come. Marriage in the younger days promises physical proximity, while the one performed now brings about spiritual affinity.
Correct, no? So when a young boy and young girl, when they come together, there is a mutual expectation from each other for enjoyment. Like a girl thinks that this man will maintain me well, my father is handing me over to this boy. Because I have trust in my parents, I am accepting this boy in marriage. So she thinks that he will give me a good house and give me a good facility, good saree, good ornaments to wear, and he will keep me well, he will be a rich man. So she has her expectations. And the husband has his expectations that, with the combination with the woman, he feels that I am very dry heart I have, and I will add some emotion to my life, some sweetness to my life, some happiness to my life. Like that, they both actually come in physical proximity with the aspiration for some amount of enjoyment on one hand, and some amount of spiritual advancement on the other. We have a combination of both components, material component, spiritual component. We want to please and serve Guru also as husband and wife. At the same time, we also want to enjoy life also. There's a combined desire. But after one comes to Vanaprastha stage, one performs the That is about spiritual affinity. They see each other as spiritual partners. Yeah. Yes.
Thus, the Shanti, Kranti aspects which run through the Shashti Purti celebration provides a fusion of spiritual and social obligations, which are the very bedrock the Indian culture.
So, it's a fusion of spiritual and social obligations. That means social obligations almost stop when you come to 60, and spiritual obligation starts. It's like a turning point, we can say. And then there are rituals involved. Many rituals are given, what all to be done, very elaborately given. I'm not getting into the detail. Kalash puja, so many things, pujas are many charities to be given. It's very elaborate. Homas to be the Ayush Homa, Agra Homa, Dhanvantri Homa, Mahamrityunjay Homa, ceremonial bath. All these things are done. Here's a question, yeah.
I got a question.
Yeah, please.
In the Shastras, we see generally after 50 years, one is recommended to increase his focus on.
Actually, yeah.
Vanaprastha.
Actually, in 50 plus one is supposed to take Vanaprastha. But I read in Prabhupada's one of the purports, although it is said Panchashivurdham Manam Braje, in that stage, one just begins to learn about Vanaprastha. And that is the beginning. Just like, for example, a boy in the college comes to Krishna consciousness, immediately doesn't join ashram. After 7 years, he joins. It takes him 6-7 years of practice, and then he becomes convinced to dedicate his life. Similarly, 50 you start, and then by the time you become 55, 56, 58, you are already preparing to gradually take off from your material responsibilities. Some people may be dedicated at 51 itself, possible. But most people will take some years, and by the time they come to 60, here is a confirmation at 60 that now, no more turning back. We want to be spiritually committed now to the service to Guru and, to spiritual advancement. Prabhupada says the goal of Vanaprastha ashram is to go back home, back to Godhead. In one purport, Prabhupada writes, even 20 years of your life, if you dedicate fully in Krishna service, you will go back to Godhead, Prabhupada says. And generally the 20 is between 60 to 80 or 50 to 70, like that. So, likely that one was preoccupied with so many responsibilities prior to that age. But now the realization has dawned, one has grown up in maturity, then one can dedicate one's life. So, but there are people who even after 70, they are not able to take off. So, it varies from person to person. But 50 is actually the beginning point, ideally speaking. But for 50 to start, Panchashiva, I was just telling a few minutes ago, Prabhu, that nowadays marriages are happening too late. Imagine if a boy is 30 to 33 time of marriage, and he begets a son at the age of 30 to 34. That means his son has not finished engineering till 53, 54. By the time the father becomes 54, correct, no? And then the boy has to settle in a job and earn money and become stable, then he can leave home. Therefore, it becomes challenging also. Of course, in Vedic times also, sometimes marriage got delayed, but mostly it was at early age. Is it all right, Prabhu? Yeah, and then there is a... Yes, Prabhuji, yeah. Please give the mic to him.
So, Prabhuji, in our case, we should not wait until that late, right? In terms of Krishna conscious, we should start as soon as possible.
Yeah. We can actually... one important thing I want to tell you is, there is no pressure on anybody. See, even if you go for yoga classes, they will tell you, don't stretch your body in a way that it pains you too much. It should be very pleasurable experience. Smoothly you do the yogasanas. Similarly, breathing exercise. Also, some people see this Ramdev Baba and try to do this Kapalabhati. They have exerted, they even bleed also sometimes. So therefore, they say it should come very naturally. In the same manner, Vanaprastha also, actually, it's a voluntary thing. Even this meeting now, it's a voluntary meeting. We didn't make announcement that anybody in the congregation above 50, we made a database. There are 200 fellows, everybody should come. We didn't make it like that. It's a voluntary thing. If 2 people come, wonderful. If 200 people come, it's wonderful. Ultimately, it's individual choice, correct, no? In the same manner, husband and wife should not be fearful to enter into spiritual life. They both should have a very... therefore, just like if you see, if you have a band-aid in the hand, in the knee or something you have put, Next day morning when you remove it, it's painful. It's painful. But you put some water, it comes out smoothly. You see, no? Similarly, the juice of Krishna consciousness will make the transition from material duties to spiritual duties very smooth. We feel the bliss of Krishna consciousness. Like I see my sister, her son, daughter, husband, they used to come every morning for Mangalarti, then they go to Balaji temple, they take darshan, they come back and they chant. Now, when they were in native place, they didn't know all these things. But after coming here, they know ISKCON is so wonderful. So when you get a higher taste, then taking to VANAPRASTHA becomes very smooth. Yeah, please come. Yeah. Yeah. You can meet here. You can go from here. So, in this way, there is no pressure on anybody at what age one has to take to fully spiritual activities. Like we say, 50 is for VANAPRASTHA and 70, 75 is for sannyas, we say. In between, there are 3-4 orders. For example, there is a Kutichaka, we say, then Bahudaka, and Parivrajaka, and Paramahamsa. There are 4 stages. And each stage may vary also in time. Now, he was telling in Mayapur, one family used to invite His Holiness Jayadutta Maharaj to come. Maharaj says that, in his, we can play the recording for you, I'll show you. Maharaj says here.
Householder life. And in regard to in the first canto, in regard to Dhritarashtra, and Prabhupada said to remain in householder life till one's last days is the grossest form of degradation. And he put it in italics. One should not remain in householder life till the fag end. So then what is there? The Vanaprastha ashram is there.
That I understand that Vanaprastha life, a householder has to accept it out. That is the way so that he can come to the final stage of sannyas or a complete detachment. But the biggest problem that happens in Vanaprastha life means before accepting Vanaprastha life, that desire for sense gratification has not gone from the heart. And because the desire has not gone, we feel it that we are like an hypocrisy we are doing it. On externally we are saying a Vanaprastha, inside the desire of sense gratification has not yet gone. So how to see that we don't become a hypocrite?
2 things. One is, in householder life we shouldn't live also very luxuriantly, because then renunciation is harder. The more silk you put in the cocoon, the harder it is to get out. So therefore, as householders also should be labo jiveta yavata, as much as we need, not more. That keeps things reasonable. The next thing is, it's understood that in the Vanaprastha ashram there's desires. Otherwise you wouldn't be in the Vanaprastha ashram, you'd be in the sannyas ashram. Right? There's some desire. Therefore the wife may stay on as a voluntary assistant. There's association. Still there's some security. Even if the Vanaprastha moves out of his house and lives in a little hut, the local people bring him food. He still has some arrangement.
Like for example, Prithu and Archi, they both go to forest together, husband and wife. Together they practice. Prabhupada says, Archi was serving Prithu, but there was no mutual sexual attraction between the two, he says, because Vanaprastha is like a saintly order it is. And he says that there was affection between the two, but that affection was like a spiritual partner, that type of affection, he says that. But at the same time, Kutichaka, Bahudaka, Parivrajaka, Paramahamsa means, Kutichaka means he stays in a small cottage and the wife goes to deliver tiffin box in the morning, afternoon, evening. He gets to exchange with her. And Bahudaka means he tells his wife, now I will try going door to door seeking alms, like that. And Parivrajaka means he doesn't stay in that village. He leaves the village and goes to multiple villages all across the country, preaching. And then eventually becomes Paramahamsa, means he has become transcendental now. The 4 stages are there. So now Maharaj will say a little more about that. Very interesting, you can see now.
He's not saying, I'll just depend on Krishna. I'll just give everything up. Wife is there, this is there, that's there. But he's moving away from all of that. He knows my desires are not yet extinguished. That's why there's 25 years of Vanaprastha ashram. If one can shorten it, great. But it's not a 2-day ashram. You have some time. All right. Act in such a way. How do we act in such a way? The desires are reduced. Chant Hare Krishna more. Read more. Associate more with the devotees. Eat less. If I have 1 bedroom, make it 2 bedrooms. This expansion you have. If you have to expand the number of bedrooms. 1 for your wife, 1 for you. That expansion is allowed. Just to increase the distance. Some of you know Atul Krishna Prabhu from Mayapur. He was, every time when I was going to Mayapur, he has a little house there in Mayapur. He was inviting me, at least once when I was there. His wife is a very excellent cook, Bengali lady. They would make a nice feast for us. So, and we would talk this and that. He would invite a few of us. Now, last few years, still he's inviting us, but he doesn't live there anymore. His wife lives there, and he lives down the road. And there's some coming and going. I didn't see him this year, he was teaching. So I don't know what the status is, but the program is a little distance, a little distance, a little distance, a little more distance. So that finally, there was not much to it anyway. There's not much to it anyway. If abruptly we try to break everything, then we may run into problems. But gradually, 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 gradually. Not too gradually, but step by step.
Raj, I'm asking a very straightforward question. The thing is this way, that in Vanaprastha life, there is one thing that has to be very clear: there should be no sex life.
Correct.
Correct? But if the sex desire is not yet gone, how can a person can accept
The desire
life?
may be there. You know, I may desire to rob the Bank of Baroda. It doesn't mean that I have to do it. Desire will, what is that? One has to tolerate desires. Sashantamapnoti nakamakami. Puryamana machala pratishtam samudam. All right, desires come. You know, who can say, I never have any desire for sex? The thought never crosses my mind. Who is so advanced that he'll say that? But he should know that, what? What kind of desire is that? What is that? Yadavari mama chitta Krishna padada vinde, the Yamunacharya. He was a king, so he had full facility for sex. But then he renounced all of that. Then he said that since I'm enjoying newer and newer pleasure in the service of Krishna, tadavari, what is that? Nara sangame smaryamane. When I think of sex life, that means he's admitting, sometimes I think of sex life. But then mukhavikar sustu nistivanamcha. I just want to spit at it because I'm happy in Krishna consciousness. But we don't demand no desire, otherwise you're a hypocrite. But that desire should be seen for what it is. It's Maya. That desire is Maya. And Maya is not our business. Atravastu Shivana. That's all. Not that, oh, I had a desire, that's it. You know, the brahmachari looks in his heart, he sees desires there. Okay, it's time to put on white. Talk to somebody about changing ashrams. Sannyasi sees a desire in his heart, I'm a hypocrite, better to be an honest householder. Vanaprastha looks, he says, I still have desires. Maybe I should just go back to being a regular householder. No. All right, desires, because we have this body and we have this mind, some desire may come. But by intelligence, one has to know that this is Maya. And by developing a taste for chanting Hare Krishna, for thinking of Krishna, for serving Krishna, one has to have that higher engagement so that one thinks, I've mentioned before sometimes, one time in Vrindavan, one of the biggest mistakes of my life was that there was this little picture in a shop and I didn't buy it. What was the picture? Haridas Thakur. What's the incident? It's Haridas Thakur and the prostitute. So Haridas Thakur is a young man, he's sitting there, and the prostitute is showing off her stuff. And Haridas Thakur has this big grin on his face, as if to say, lady, you got to be out of your mind. You expect me to fall for that? Because he was absorbed in the pleasure of serving Krishna. He was absorbed in the pleasure of serving Krishna. So even Maya herself could come. Anyway, let me finish my chanting. So, in that way, by intelligence and by a higher taste also. Evam, what is that? Evam budhe param budva samstabhyatmanam atmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupa durasana. By higher intelligence, param budva samstabhyatmanam atmana. One has to steady the mind by the intelligence. And jahi shatru, kill this enemy, kamarupam durasana. Elsewhere, asanga shastrena dridhena chitra. By determination, one has to cut oneself off from this endlessly entangled banyan tree of material existence. And one has to know also that now I'm older, what will I enjoy? What will I enjoy, 50, 60, what kind of sex am I meant for? How enjoyable is it to try, there's like the sugar cane that's been 4 times chewed and you're going to chew it again. Come on. What will be there? Yeah, not worth it. So the Varnashram Dharma takes advantage of our biological situation. When you're a child, there's no sex desire. You can just study and absorb all sorts of spiritual knowledge. When you're young, desires are strong. All right, you can get married, you can have children, you can work and build something up. And when you're old, you still want to do that? Yeah, the old man doesn't take pleasure in going into the office every day with the way the young man is looking forward to the challenge and all of that. It's like, oh man, I have to still keep going in there. And sex also, how much pleasure is there for an old man in sex? Because I have some back problems, I picked up what's actually a very good book on back problems here in India. And one chapter of the book was how to manage sex when you have serious back problems. You're falling apart. The machine is going to pieces, and still you're thinking, how can I keep going with sex? It's like the most important chapter in the book. Forget it. The time is gone.
Second point, that problem comes up in a household life was that a person wants to accept a Vanaprastha life, but he has to fulfill some responsibility to see to it that the children, they get married.
So get on it early, Dad. Those who are fathers, this was the class the other day, those who are fathers, don't wait till the girl's 18, 22, 46. for her benefit and for your benefit, marriage should be arranged early. That's point one. It's not that career is more important, and after she's finished her studies, and after she's finished her internship, and after she's finished, then you... So while she's young, that's the first point. Second point is that at a certain point, we have higher responsibilities. We have higher responsibilities. Prabhupada mentioned that when the Pandavas left home, finally, Krishna left this world, the Pandavas left home, they didn't say anything to Draupadi, they didn't say anything to Kunti, they didn't say anything to Subhadra. They just went. The same Pandavas who'd fought the battle of Kurukshetra over the honor of Draupadi left for the Himalayas without saying a word to her. Draupadi and Subhadra, they followed, but that you can follow or not follow, we're going. Why? Because it's our duty. Just as it was our duty to protect you when you were our wife, now it's our duty to leave this world. So one has to know that it's not within my power to see that everything will all be settled up just right. This material world doesn't work that way. I have to do it as far as possible, and at a certain point, close up shop. Prabhupada gave the example that a shopkeeper comes 5 o'clock or whatever the time is, he closes his shop down. Sure, if he stays open 3 more hours, he may get a few more customers, but he closes his shop. This is what we do. 5 o'clock, shop closes. Similarly, householder life, then one reaches a suitable age, time to close up shop. Whatever you did it. Your wife got this much, whoever got married, whoever went to college, whatever it was, you've done it, and now it's time for you to move on. And it may be, Prabhupada, he took sannyas, he still had unmarried daughters, yeah? And if he thought, no, I have to get my daughter married, then I have to see about my grandchildren, then I have to see, we wouldn't be sitting here. It's a matter of duty. Varnashram, dharma. Dharma, one meaning is duty. I have to do it. Who wants to leave householder life? Some people do, depending on how nice it seems or how determined they are. Some people, they're determined to stay in householder life. It's very nice. But as a matter of duty, I may like it. Oh, great, I'm counting the days till I can leave. Or I'm dreading, how can I leave? Either way, I have to go. Either way, I have to go. Pancha shortam vanam vrajen.
Sometimes the children give a complaint, this is what I've heard, it is that because my parents wants to accept a Vanaprastha life and they have given me the limit, and due to that reason, due to
complain all you want. We'll put a complaint box in the, in the ashram. You can drop your complaints in the box. The children of Mahatma Gandhi complain. Our father abandoned us. And still they put his picture on all the banknotes in the country. Right? And that was just for the country. I mean, it wasn't for anything higher than that. But for the sake of Swaraj, he neglected his family. And the family was, he neglected Prabhupada's family also. His children were unhappy. Our father abandoned us. Our father abandoned our mother. But that's duty.
But sometimes it so happens that a Vanaprastha life, he has accepted it, and then his health has become little bit deteriorated. And he needs some shelter from his family members.
Therefore, number one, don't wait till you're 75 to become a Vanaprastha. Don't wait till you can't move anymore. Don't wait till there's hardly any life left in the bones. I've seen this sometimes. Where someone was really serious and you could see everything, all the good samskars, every opera he could preach, he knew the philosophy, he was just too old. And he was still in family life. There was nothing he could do. Don't wait. If there's a fire, don't wait and see how big it's going to get till it reaches the point where you can't escape. There's a time. Time has come, time to go. And the time is, if you're 50, generally you still have some power. Now, most of my godbrothers and I, godsisters, 60s, late 60s, we're all starting to fall like dominoes. We're all, this one's taking a health retreat, this one's in the hospital, this one's, this, that. That's what goes on in your 60s. Not everyone, some fortunate men escape, but generally speaking, in your 60s, the old car is falling apart. It has to go into the repair shop so often. Or else you have to, be content that it goes at 20 miles an hour and rattles all the time. That's what it is. At 50, the thing still runs. So don't wait till you're like incapacitated and say, now I'm going to renounce. While you still have strength. That's the idea. Not when there's nothing else. I couldn't possibly go into the office another day. I couldn't possibly do another thing, so I'm going to renounce household work. Don't wait till that point. While the strength is still there.
Complaint is this way, that okay, you have gone at the early age and you went away, you did some service also, but when you became sick and when you were completely invalid, at that time you again came to the house only.
Don't come to the household. Depend on Krishna. Somehow or other, if I'm serving Krishna, everything will be provided. Krishna Bhakti Koila Sarva Karma Kritohai. Everything will be there. Yoga Kshema Vahamyaham. Everything will be there. Guaranteed. And if not, I'll die. But I'll die anyway. As Krishna may arrange. I'll get some medical attention, I won't get some medical attention, I'll get half the medical attention. Not that I have to crawl back to my home and say, please feed me, please take care of me, please, please. If you need to beg, go beg from Krishna, don't go begging from your family members. That's also violence to the family, to stay around. Actually, they don't want the old dog staying around the home anymore. He doesn't contribute anything. He's a drag, he's old, sort of brings down our fun. He doesn't, it's like described in third canto, like an old ox. It doesn't pull the cart anymore, it just eats. Oh, he's not really... people aren't thrilled that he's still there. So it's time, go. And don't worry that, if my family doesn't take care of me, my health will fall apart. It'll fall apart or not fall apart, but I'll depend on Krishna. All the living beings in the universe are somehow or other being taken care of. I'm also one of the living beings. If I surrender to Krishna, Krishna will, Rakshasya titi vishvasho, Krishna will protect me. Moktritve varanam tata. We should have that confidence.
If we don't have that much Lakshmi to take care of the health, then...
No, not Lakshmi, Krishna. It's not Vishvashvati, Krishna Lakshmi will maintain me, Lakshmi will protect me, Lakshmi doesn't do that. That's the illusory reflection of Lakshmi. If you're with Narayan, Lakshmi will be there. It's a false, and even if I have Lakshmi, or I think I have Lakshmi, I have money, does it mean I won't die? Does it mean my health will be good? There's no guarantee. The richest men in the world develop this syndrome or that syndrome or this problem or that problem, and all they do is get to spend more money to suffer. They can go to this hospital and that hospital, they can draw more blood, and they can try this test and they can try that test and this therapy and that therapy, this operation and that operation, and stretch them out longer on the rack of this world. Or they can't do anything. I'm sorry. Nothing we can do. And so often they tell them that your doctor tells you, you know, you need to lose 30 pounds. You know, why are people so sick and call you need to lose 30 pounds. You need to do this. You need to stop sitting down all the time. Who's healthy? The villagers are healthy. Compared to Bombay, the villagers are healthy because they're walking every day, they're working, they're doing everything. We have to learn to depend on Krishna. Not Lakshmi. Lakshmi will not save me at the time of death or before. Yeah.
We have not yet reached to that platform of complete faith, complete surrender, and before
So
that,
get started. We may not have reached perfection, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't start moving in that direction. No one says, I can't get married yet because I don't have a big house, I don't have a big job, I don't have money. Whatever you have, you get married and you figure I'll build it up from there, right? You don't wait till you've got everything nailed down. You get going and you say, okay, we'll work on it. The same thing. Leaving, winding down is the same principle as winding it up. Let me get started and gradually. And that's VANAPRASTHA. Let me get started, let me keep going, let me make further progress, and gradually I come to that point. I can depend on Krishna. I don't need this, and this. I thought I needed all of that, but it's not so.
What about the wife? She has given her life to you and she has served you, but she might have not reached to that transcendental spiritual platform.
This is for her benefit also, and it's required. Again, the soldiers in wartime, it's not that they say, I'm sorry, but I have my wife, I can't fight for the country. They do it. Even young men. And they know, I may die, I may not come back, but it's my duty to the country. So if for the country I'll do that, why not for Krishna? And there's no guarantee that I'll be able to maintain my wife or support my wife or do anything for my wife. I may die, then what happens to my wife? I may be incapacitated, what happens to my wife? It's not that, it's, in one sense it's an illusion. I am supporting my wife. At some point one has to go, it was my duty, now it's done. I did what I could do within householder life, try to make all the nice arrangements, then it goes on. Sons are there, they should be trained. Now this is going to be your duty, you take it up. Otherwise some responsible party, but I'm gone.
Maharaj, what about the cases where the couple doesn't have children only?
All right, less trouble. Somehow or other, we have 25 years to work that out. As in a properly run society, the responsible parties will take charge for the widows, for the orphans, for the former wives of sannyasis. So as our society develops, responsible householders especially have to take that responsibility. Householder life doesn't mean just a free ticket. It's an expensive ticket. You have to take care of the grahastas, of your own family. You have to take care of the sannyasis. You have to take care of the brahmacharis. You have to take care of the vanaprasthas. Because you are the earning section. Vanaprasthas don't earn money. Grahastas, sannyasis and brahmacharis don't earn money. You've got the license, you can earn, but you got to pay. The grahastas should organize among themselves. It's our job is not to feed the needy children of Bombay and neglect our own members. Prabhupada one time was at an airport. We were sitting, and someone had brought some prasadam, so they gave to Prabhupada some sweets, whatever. Prabhupada took a little, he said, now distribute. And the devotees looked around to the people of the airport. Prabhupada said to the devotees, he said, charity begins at home. So if we want to do welfare work, charitable work, take care of people who are in need, don't go looking for where there's a typhoon or a this or that. Start with the devotees, Vaishnav Seva. So who are those Vaishnavas? The elderly, the widows, the orphans, the devotees who are in some kind of need. They should be the objects of charity. Charity is meant for the Brahmins and Vaishnavas. You know, I've been to some temple and they've got the big, trucks, free India from hunger. It's all rubbish. You can't free India from hunger, first of all, because according to karma, somebody's going to be hungry always. Second, it's not our business. Our job is not to free the world of hunger. Our job is to spread Krishna consciousness. In that context, we distribute prasadam, and if we really want to give charity, it should start with the Vaishnavas. There's plenty of Vaishnavas now. We're seeing, again, everybody's falling apart from my generation. If you're looking for a charity case, there's plenty. I just happened to see yesterday, there's a Facebook page, my mother is in need of such and such, and we started collecting money, but now she needs 24-hour care and she can't go from here to there. There's plenty of such cases. Come to me, I'll start giving you a list. Those who are charitable, those who have money, those who are looking to do something for the welfare of others, start with the Vaishnavas. Charity begins at home. And we were talking about how at a certain time it's your duty, you just have to stop everything, and that's that. So now that time has come and we're going to stop the class. Thank you. Hare Krishna, all glory.
Yes, Maharaj ki. See, the title is Jayadaswami Lecture on Vanaprastha Ashram. It's there in Radha Gopinath Media. You'll get it. I liked it very much, so I thought I'll share with you. Now, I also wanted to show you some interesting things. From Manipedia also, I got something about Vanaprastha order. And they have given some nice quotes of Prabhupada. Is it small or big enough? If it's very small, I can make it big, I think. Big enough? Please read this.
The system of Vanaprastha Dharma prepares...
Varnashrama Dharma.
The system of Varnashram Dharma prepares a man for going back to Godhead. And thus a householder is ordered to go to the forest as Vanaprastha to acquire complete knowledge and then to take sannyas prior to his inevitable death. Parikshit Maharaj was fortunate to get a 7-day notice to meet his inevitable death. But for the common man, there is no definite notice, although death is inevitable for all. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.19.4.
Yeah. So in 1.19.4, there are some more points Prabhupada says in the purpose. I'll show you. First, Prabhupada talks about the life of a human being is a chance to prepare oneself to go back to Godhead or to get rid of material existence from the repetition of birth and death, he says. And then, yeah, after this, we can read from this one.
Foolish men forget the sure fact of death and neglect the duty of preparing themselves for going.
Just 1 minute. Yeah. Yes. Oh, sorry. Going back to Godhead, correct? No? Yeah.
They spoil their lives in animal propensities to eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. Such an irresponsible life is adopted by the people in the age of Kali because of a sinful desire to condemn Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cow protection, all three of which the state is responsible to advance. The state must employ revenue to advance these three items and thus educate the populace to prepare for death and going back to Godhead. The state which does so is the real welfare state. The state of India should follow the example of Maharaj Parikshit, the ideal executive head, rather than imitate materialistic states which have no idea of the kingdom of Godhead, the ultimate goal of human life. The deterioration of the ideals of Indian civilization has brought about the deterioration of civic life, not only in India but also abroad.
So here you will see Prabhupada says here, foolish men forget the sure fact of death, neglect the duty of preparing themselves for going back to Godhead. They spoil their lives in animal propensities to eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. So there are two types of life. One is materialistic life, one is spiritual life. Materialistic life means they don't know anything beyond matter. Therefore Prabhupada writes about Grahamedi and Grahastha. So in ISKCON we get all wisdom from Prabhupada's books. Otherwise most people don't know the goal of life. So in this way each of these purports of Prabhupada are very special. This one you see, this is another interesting purport Prabhupada says. I can read this one.
Yes. The householder who associates with women under scriptural restrictions after a thorough training of brahmacharya cannot be a householder like cats and dogs. Such a householder, after 50 years of age, would retire from the association of women as a VANAPRASTHA to be trained to live alone without the association of women. When the practice is complete, the same retired householder become a sannyasi, strictly separate from women, even from his married wife. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.7.6.
Yeah. Regarding that, we heard from Maharaj also now. I can read this one. Yes. According to
Vedic civilization, this giving up of home by Vanaprastha and sannyas is compulsory. But people are so attached to their homes that even up to the point of death, they do not like to retire from home life. King Anga, therefore, thinking in terms of detachment, accepted his bad son as a good impetus for the detachment from home life. He therefore considered his bad son his friend, since he was helping him become detached from his home.
So Anga Maharaj was a good soul. He was a very good soul. But in his previous life, he had some sinful account, due to which he got a bad son called Vena. Vena was a very dangerous son who was a small boy. He was throwing other children into the ocean. So he was so atrocious that he was incorrigible. So Praja was crying and coming to him and saying, your son is behaving like this, rectify him, reform him. But the son was not correctable. So finally he became so stressed. He left home and went to forest after taking permission from Brahmins. And he practiced pure devotion service and went back to Godhead. But here is an example of how Prabhupada also had a wife who was not very favorable. Prabhupada took it as an opportunity to take Vanaprastha and then eventually sannyas, go abroad and do great miraculous preaching all over the world, correct? No? So whether the situation is favorable or unfavorable, Prabhupada says in the Vedic civilization, there is a natural separation from one's materialistic lifestyle. Therefore, I showed you in the beginning the Shashti of the Purti. We showed you the, what is that? Ugra Shanti, he says. Ugra Ratha Shanti and then Kranti, he says. So your revolution starts after the stage of 60. So recently, I had gone to one very big doctor in one place. This is a very internationally popular doctor. Yes, so he's a surgeon. He has done thousands of cases and a world-renowned doctor. So somehow or other, fortunately, one devotee gave him proper Lilamrit. Now this doctor is 75 now. So he read Lilamrit and he told me, after seeing this Swamiji, Sri Prabhupada, I got great hope that even after 70 you can do wonders. He's already 75. He said that now I am developing taste in spiritual life. He has come to 8 rounds now chanting, only by studying the life of Prabhupada. He said generally people think that after 60 nobody will respect me, nobody will look at me. I am like a rejected lot. But Prabhupada began his glorious preaching activities after 70. Between 70 to 82, he did everything. So we can take everything as an impetus to advance. Yeah. Now, one last thing I want to show you today. I have one. See, this is a 12-page article, the VANAPRASTHA and its practical application. This is Mahaprabhu taking sannyas. But this article is a beautiful article. Okay. See, it's saying, what is VANAPRASTHA? Are you able to see it? What is VANAPRASTHA is explaining. And then like this, what Prabhupada he established in VANAPRASTHA. And then he gradually develops his article. If you go ahead. See, according to Srila Prabhupada, the main goal of VANAPRASTHA is to develop detachment from the material world. And then with that detachment, use it as a platform or a springboard to develop attachment to Krishna. And that is and then he's saying attachment in household life and the position of an attached household. So they have given many purport points here, like this. And the consequence of sense gratification they are given. Srila Prabhupada was concerned for his young household disciples. Yeah. Traditional VANAPRASTHA system and its present day challenges. How we won't be able to do. So he has given all the quotes here, numbers. So you all can actually go through these numbers of shlokas. The goal of moving through the Grihastha ashrama is to develop gradual detachment from household life and to later adopt the detached ashrama of VANAPRASTHA. Yeah. See, he's saying this devotee who has taken VANAPRASTHA, he's writing this article. He was given by this thing, Vanapravesh. And the Grihastha's duty is to maintain the other 3 classes. You can read this one. This is a very important section. Is it big enough to read? Yeah? Can you read it? Yeah. Shivaji, is good enough?
Hare Krishna. One must be sufficiently mature physically, mentally, and spiritually. Detachment from the material life and dependence on Krishna are required. Vanaprastha is not a change of dress or title, but a change of mentality. One's sense should be sufficiently under control. There should be willingness and ability to cut attachment to the family and home.
It's very similar to Brahmachari ashram. Like you have seen students studying in college and then they do some job for a while and then give the money to parents and they join ashram. Correct? No? You have seen many educated boys also. When they join the ashram, then they live in the ashram. It's not that they totally give up the parents. They see the parents also. But the kind of relationship they had before and now is totally different. Here now they have become completely spiritualized here. So that is the type of thing he's saying here. Once sense should be sufficient under control, there should be a willingness and ability to cut attachment to family and home, okay, and then one should be determined.
One should determine not to engage in loose association, humanism, idle talk, and any form of the unnecessary sense gratification. Association with one's wife, if done at all, should be restricted in order to gain her inner help in serving the Lord. One who is not married one who is not married, a sannyasi, brahmachari, or vanaprastha should rigidly avoid anything related to sex, and of course should never see any living entity, either bird, insect, or woman, engaging in various phases of sexual intercourse. Srimad Bhagavatam 11.17.33 purport. Vanaprastha should have a good sadhana and preferable devotion attitude. They have a responsibility as a society leader to help care of their juniors.
Yeah. So you got an idea. You will see that sannyasi, brahmachari and vanaprastha are put in same category. You will see the grihastha ashram is the only ashram which is separately mentioned, where a person is given a license to live with the family, make money, and then give charity to brahmanas, and provisions to shudras, and then tax to the kshatriyas, like that. Those things, yeah. So basically here, if you read all these things, you will see that based on Prabhupada's purport, it is a platform for advancing in Krishna consciousness swiftly. That's the purpose of this, yeah. And then he's saying, our recommendation, humble request to Prabhupada follows is that they take his instructions regarding Vanaprastha seriously, he says.
Hare Krishna, one question, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
So one question. So if our family,
Yeah.
so all are devotees, okay. So all their center focus is Krishna consciousness.
Correct.
Okay, the wife or children.
Yeah,
and
correct.
children are getting married, and the wife is also focusing on the Krishna consciousness.
Correct.
So then, what is the requirement of Vanaprastha? I'm serving my wife.
Yes.
The wife is serving me. And
Yes.
the focus is Krishna consciousness.
Correct.
So Vanaprastha is really required in that case.
Actually, what we also say in Pune, we tell the people that there are many distractions even in living in a home with wife and husband and living together. For example, socializing with other relatives. People, like one gentleman came to our ashram and said, I want to join as Vanaprastha, but I will fulfill some duties and come. But he has relatives getting married, relatives' birthday, relatives' marriage anniversary day. Then, for example, sons and daughters will beget children. Then you have grandchildren. Then you take them for a walk, Then when they grow up, you want to see them married also. So, and also your social circle of friends, they will call you, come to Nana Nani Park, let us sit and chat there. They talk about politics, they talk about sports, they talk about cinemas, their friends, old people talk. Now your family members who are retired now, like you, they form a network also nowadays. Karmi network. Yeah. They form a network and they talk also. And besides these things, what happens, when it is often observed that the social obligations and the usage of the smartphone, we waste a lot of time in things like that. Newspaper reading, TV watching. When you are, for example, a serious Vanaprastha couple, for example, husband doesn't have to leave the wife and come into the temple and stay as a full-time devotee. We don't expect that. What I am also telling in Pune is, you have a house close to the temple and you gradually increase your seva responsibility in the temple. And as years pass, you see, satsangan mukta dussango, it is said. Which means, if you increase your coming to temple for the morning program, like 4:30 to 9:30, we have daily program. It's a very simple thing I'm telling you. Vanaprastha means you be like brahmacharis, come to the temple morning 4:30 to 9:30, attend all the program. And then we are also allowing such Vanaprastha men to attend our brahmachari class, which happens either 11 to 12:30 or it happens 2:30 to 4 in the afternoon. Every day it's there, So one can attend that class also, take advantage of the association. And here we are BVRV, that Bhaktivedanta Raja Vidyalaya. So now we are having more than 60 courses are going on here. Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta, Bhakti Siddhanta. All over Pune and even all over the world also, many are online also connecting. So Pune has become a very vibrant educational center. So you connect yourself. You did Bhakti Shastri already? You did? Bhakti Shastri? So you can join Bhakti Shastri and then Shastrically become very stable in that. Then you can take, if you go to Revatpatpu, he has got a CSB, Congregation Service Board. So there they have a lot of services available. Like for example, the deity related service, gift stall related service, Jivadaya book distribution related service. And also we want some Vanaprastha people to sit in the book stalls. They can sit and they can do some seva also. But we don't expect you that we don't prescribe the number of hours of service for you. You volunteer, yeah. You say that in a day I can do 3 hours of service and I would like to attend the morning program fully. And then you can spend some time with the family also, that's not a problem. So we tell like this. So step number 1, I will tell you, come close to the temple. Take a house very close to the temple. Don't live far away, because if you live far away, commuting becomes difficult. And then you may think that Mangalati will do at home only. Now we think like that. But if you stay in Barsana or very close here, Golak Vrindavan, or you are staying in Krishnadham apartments or Dwaraka, very near you stay, then you can just walk down. Like my sister's family lives in Barsana. They all, husband, wife, their son, daughter, everybody comes in the morning. The whole family comes. The whole morning program they attend. So in this way, you can make it a practice like that. So that means these are all examples I am telling you of how you can intensify your spiritual life. Now today is the first meeting. I didn't make any poster or anything. For the next month, I'm going to make a poster. Beautiful VANAPRASTHA poster, and I will also prescribe a syllabus also. I will say what we are going to do. So many more people will come. We may have about 40, 50 people will come. You will see that. So amongst them, amongst all of you, I want to make a network of 4 to 5 people groups. And the group choice also will be by the individuals only. We are not prescribing it to top down. We are allowing them to choose which group they want to be. If somebody says, Prabhuji, I don't have any preferences, then we will put them in a group ourselves. So the purpose of this network is, you come to temple. Temple actually should be run by the grihasthas and vanaprasthas, and brahmachari should go in the bus parties out, distributing. Like morning nowadays, 7 to 7:30, go on a Harinam Sankirtan. Nowadays, we all, some group of brahmacharis, we go, So brahmacharis especially are supposed to do these kind of services. Go on Harinam Sankirtan and go out on bus party, book distribution, go out to colleges, schools, universities and distribute books and preach, But right now what is happening? Brahmacharis are all stuck in deity department. You ask him how many, there are 30 brahmacharis in deity department, correct? Yeah, pujaris are 12, including backup, there are 30 brahmacharis now. Now imagine a vanaprastha men say that we will run the Jivadaya, our book distribution department, computer, because you are all experienced in the outside world. Say for example, one example I'll tell you from Juhu temple, there was one CA, chartered accountant. 28 years he gave service to Juhu temple, 28 years. And he didn't take a single penny. And this was post-retirement he did. At the age of 60 he retired. So 60 to 88 he gave service. And then he passed. And everybody, when he passed, everybody participated in the cremation and everything, because he was a well-known devotee. And everybody knew that he's a big CA and handling so much responsibility in the temple. For all the money coming and going out, he was fully responsible for that. Getting the balance sheet done and everything. So 28 years free service, can you imagine? And why will he not go back to Godhead? He's attending the whole morning program and he's doing the service during the daytime. He and his wife are coming to temple and she's doing some seva, he's doing some seva. So Prabhupada writes in one purport, if any devotee, 20 years of his life, if he gives fully in Krishna service, he'll go back to Godhead, Prabhupada says. And the 20 years is mainly for grihasthas, it is 60 to 80. Those are the 20 years. Or we can say 50 to 70 or whatever. So those, in case grihastha life, they had to travel all over the world. Their life was very busy, they didn't get enough time. Or some grihasthas have come to Krishna consciousness late. They came at 35 or 40. And they took some time to pick up and get initiated. But now you know fully what is the goal of life and everything. So, Vanaprastha here means, like I told you, there's a materialistic type of family life post 50 or post 60, as I told you. There's so much socialization with community, society, relatives, friends, family, correct, no? But if you come very close to temple, husband and wife both are geared in spiritual life, then 3 things we want to see intense in their life. One is spiritual sadhana, coming for the whole morning program, taking, just like brahmacharis, attending the morning programs and taking advantage of the Bhagavatam class, chanting with the devotees, with everybody, and developing a spiritual taste, higher taste, and reading Srimad Bhagavatam, and also participating in Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Yoga, some course like that, and educating yourself, equipping yourself so that you become well established, because without knowledge, we want to get higher taste also. Good. And the second thing is the seva of your choice. You can take whichever service you feel inclined to. That department you can go and connect. There are some Vanaprastha devotees who sell laddus in Balaji temple. 2 hours a day, the kind of seva they do. Some service. And once your wisdom increases, then your desire to do seva also will increase. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is, if intensity in spiritual life and seva is going on well, then you will develop a strong desire to preach and bring more people into the fold of the movement. Some of the devotees. For example, Vanaprastha men can sit in the table, they can keep a laddu or something for all the people, visitors, you can give them one laddu, and tell them a little bit about Prabhupada, about the temple, about chanting Hare Krishna. We have one chanting stall there, 250, 300 people come to chant there every day. But only 10 people agree to chant one round for whole life. Why? Because the person sitting there should be a pakka devotee who can preach well. If he inspires the people now, out of 250, we can even have 40, 50 people agreeing to take mala and chant every day, one round, So you are all devotees. So you can take a slot there. So you give me this slot between 5 to 7. I'll sit there and inspire the new people to chant, And similarly, you can start, Vanaprastha men can talk to children, they can talk to boys and girls, they can talk to families, and they can actually do whatever service is suitable for their, psychophysical nature, like that. So that means intensifying education and spiritual intensity. And secondly, the seva, taking up some services for the mission of Prabhupada, taking it. And then thirdly, when you are very inspired, whenever you feel very strong, you can become a counselor, assistant counselor, and you can also become a preacher, if you can. If you're not comfortable with it, you don't have to do it, And by doing this, your life would be not much different from the life of the brahmacharis. That means Prabhupada includes 3 people in the renounced order: brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis. These 3 Prabhupada puts in one category, all through his Bhagavatam purports. And grihastha he puts in another category because they have more privacy, they have worldly responsibilities also. And their duties actually pull them too much. They won't be able to give much time for developing education, training, and spiritual knowledge and all. They get some time. But most of the grihastha's life, you know how it is. Correct, no? But what is your age, Prabhu, yourself? 44. You have still time. Huh? You have still time. But Prabhupada says, if you prepare and your enthusiasm is very great. Even before touching 50, you have developed enthusiasm. What's your good name? Ras? Ras Vilasa. You are whose counseling? Oh, okay. Mera Rabinapro, I know. Okay. Right. You live in Pune nowadays? Okay. In Basana only. Okay. Oh, very good. You are a good circle now, network. So, in this way, one important thing I'll tell you, there is no pressure on you. This is all knowledge only. But there is nobody going to put a gunpoint on your head and says, are you ready for one person now? Nobody will ask you. It's whose choice? Your choice only. There are people, as Prabhupada says, even after 80, they don't leave home and they don't take spiritual life seriously. There are people, one man I know in South India, he's 80 years old, he's still having a good body. He's watching cricket, and when there is a sixer, he's jumping up and clapping hands. Still in 80, he's enthused for cricket. So I was thinking that when he dies, he will take a body of a boy, he will have to play cricket. Correct, no? Yeah, because that means the subtle body is still imbued with taste for playing sports. Whereas the Narada boy says, Dante akridanake, alpavashini anumartini. Prasad tungo. Prasad narga. Hare Krishna. Dante akridanake. Akridanake means he was not inclined to such kinds of sports even as a small boy. Isn't it? Huh? So, I am going to give all of you this article. Benefits of Vanaprastha Ashrama is saying. We quickly read this. Finish this one, please. Yeah. Yes.
Aspiring to the Vanaprastha ashram helps develop the mood of a Goswami or controller of senses. The preface to the Nectar of Instruction states, first, One must become a perfect Goswami and then a pure devotee of the Lord. The natural progression of the winding down of family affairs prepares one for uninterrupted meditation on the purpose of life, to develop Krishna consciousness free from life's material demands. Vanprastha is not recommended as a way to boost for one's ego, but to facilitate one's focus on self realization, particularly on the exclusive service of the Supreme Lord. To gain that focus involves leaving the service of one's grown family in the hands of those still engaged by age and inclination in family affairs.
It's such a beautiful word, na? Age and inclination. Like, for example, your sons and daughters are young and they don't have to renounce everything. Now, and they also have inclination to be in family and do business or go abroad, study, and, they have that, vigor for those things. So, therefore, we can hand over the responsibility to the hands of such people. When we become more than 50, 55, yeah.
Going through an official public ceremony is one method to confirm entrance into the Vanaprastha ashram and would ease the transition both for the individual entering the ashram and those he or she is leaving behind. One should accept Vanaprastha naturally and without duplicity. It is not simply a formality, but an internal state of detachment matched with appropriate external behavior. It is not an artificial social imposition.
Correct, no? It's a voluntary choice. Actually, in ISKCON, the VANAPRASTHA orders are still to be manifested, but in Pune, we want to start it in a serious way because our community is a growing community. And there are a good number of people who are crossing 45 now. Correct, no? Yeah. So there are considerations for practical application: age, economic security, association of the sex, detachment of wife and family, wife's duty. Everything is giving very, very nicely. Overall theme, formal methods of transitioning into Vanaprastha. You see, ceremony, how it is done, So all these things are said. Receiving a title, they call it as Vanachari, they call. After that, actually, Pune, we haven't contemplated on those things at the moment. At the moment, we are only telling people these three things, as I told you: stay near the temple, educate yourself in Krishna consciousness more deeply, and do seva, and then try to engage in prachar and counseling. These three things, if you do, that's a big step, big step. And then behaviors and practices found in the scriptures, what all they should do in Vanaprastha stage, specific practices. So it's a very beautiful article, very elaborate article. So this is the person, Jaya Gausundar Das Gauravanachari. He has taken Vanaprastha in ISKCON. He is his own Jayadut Swami's one Vanaprastha disciple. I know one devotee called Danavir Das Brahmachari. Then Danavir, Das Adhikari he became when he became married. Then after that he became Danavir Das Vanachari. He became Vanaprastha. Then now he is Danavir Swami Maharaj. So he's gone through all the four phases in his life. In Danavir Maharaj, yeah. So I'm going to send this to you all. You can go through it. It's very, very nice. It's about totally 12 pages it is. So I am going to send this file also, Vanaprastha from Vanipedia. Both I am going to send it. So Reku, if I send you, no, only one I sent you, and the second one also I will. Yeah, Alex.
One question.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
It's saying one should take 3 times bath a day. What purpose is it?
Vanaprastha, no? Yeah. Actually, those are details which we don't have to. Even brahmacharis, we take once or twice in a day. So, we don't have to bother about those. Generally, when we pass stool, then we'll take bath. Sometimes people pass stool 2 times a day. Then 2 baths happen, But sometimes 3 baths may happen also sometimes, yeah. Those are details which are not very important. There are secondary details and primary ones are more important. Yeah.
Well, it is browsing, it is not.
Yes, yeah. I'm putting that. I'm putting the Sashya the Buddha article also, which I showed you. You can see that.
It's like more South Indian follow
That Sashpati, yeah, correct. South India is very more famous, correct. That's true, yeah. I'm sending the video also of His Holiness Dejut Maharaj. So you can forward it to everybody. So I think he will send you by. I think you have to connect this, no, Shivaji Prabhu. Actually, I think you are all in WhatsApp, no? We will send you by WhatsApp. You will send. What is that? Correct. Yeah, we will connect in WhatsApp to everybody, no? You'll send it. I've sent you 4 files. I have sent you along with His Holiness Jayatut Maharaj's lecture. This link also I have sent you. Thank you very much. Shri Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki. So I want to finalize the date for the next meeting. So I'll show you my calendar.